Let's just work on the spine first. Just hands up and down, head back. Hands up and out. And turning the head. Clasping the hands, straightening the arms, pulling the shoulders back, straightening the thoracic spine, and then just rotating the head. And the other way. And now just holding the elbows behind the back and leaning forwards. Then let's try a few over the knees. So let's just try a little bit with the stick. Just using it to help the spine become more straight. The upper part of the spine. So again, we just want to let the stick rest in the part of the spine that feels like it needs to be pulled in a bit. The parts that are generally problematic are like where one curve meets another. So like where the lumbar spine meets the thoracic, and here where the thoracic hits the cervical. few tipping to the side. So you can just link the fingers and put the hands on the head. I want to go slow enough so I can sort of attend to every centimetre of the movement. Just a few twisting. Let's just try just a few of these. And then a bit pulling and pushing. So if you don't have the stick, you can just link your fingers together. When I produce a gentle force and watch it, energy will manifest. And push. And pulling. and pushing. Okay, try a little bit rubbing my hands. And the knees. And now just feeling the lower dantian, which my hands are cupping. And now gripping into it, tightening the muscles, and then releasing and pushing, pulling, pushing. Trying to get a little bit of movement in the lumbar spine. and then alternating. Bring in a bit of a twist. So effectively, you're doing like tight figures of eights in the belly. Visualize each of these centers, each of the dantians, as a circle with a figure of eight in the middle, like a yin yang symbol. And now just work on this, the thread that's suspending the head. So just take one of the hands that's cupping the dantian out and lift it up. So a large gesture. Then say you make like a hook. So like you're grabbing some fine filament from here and then just teasing it up as far as it will go. And then a big movement back down and then the other side. Now let's rub the hands again. And then the hands on the head. So it's like the middle of the palms are gazing into the ears, and the fingers are touching the head ever so lightly, and the thumbs at the back where we would flick the head. Really subtle feeling of lifting the head a little. And then teasing these energy filaments, untangling, unraveling. And you just play with it. And then back down. And now just feel it. So we've got this churning, but local and concentrated feeling in the belly. This very expansive feeling in the head with this lovely lift here. And then just bring the mind to the heart. And now let's just do the breathing. So really letting the chest expand, not forcing it too much. So the heart and the lungs are both occupy the chest cavity, so they're very related. So as I breathe in, I can really let the chest expand, let the heart open. just do a figure of eight. Imagine a circle here. And this is you, like both hands are tracing the same figure of eight. And because they're quite small, you really feel it as the middle finger leading on each hand. Now let's try the same thing, but for the head. So just feel the head, the round circle here, and doing a figure of eight here. Think of this point, the third eye, sort of between the eyes, being the center of the figure of eight. So when we did it for the heart, you could really feel the arms belonging to the heart, so the shoulders really get into it. So here we have to somehow get the eyes into it because they're the limbs of the head, but the jaw as well. Let's bring it down to here and just feel them now. So this one is quite tight and really small and wriggly. In a sense, this is the most active one, or we'd like it to be. Feel the strength in the lower back that is supporting these two. So John always used to say that traditionally Tai Chi was taught to young men, and these young men would have been farm hands or laborers. So they would have been using their bodies all day vigorously. And the Tai Chi was just designed to soften them a little bit and make them a bit more philosophical. So nowadays things are just reversed. And now, you can go through your whole life never having to use your body vigorously. So people's bodies nowadays are undertrained. And if they are trained, they're normally trained in the gym. So it's gym strength rather than real strength. So imagine those farmhands. Imagine planting rice all day, how strong your legs and your lower back would be. And, throwing things around, bales of hay, digging the ground. You're using the legs and the lower back to bring the energy up into your upper body so that you can basically just move things around. So we tend to have lost that. I remember John once he said, Tai Chi simply addresses the problem of letting your energy out. And people don't realize just how difficult it is to let your energy out. They think because they can move things around, because they can see it's their energy that's being used, but it's not. They're just using force. To use energy, you really have to just whip it up from the ground using the legs and the lower back. So we really have to feel this part of the back here, the lower back, strong, thrusting the chest up so that it can really expand. Problem with meditation is it does tend to sort of slump. I know quite a few meditators here that are like really, they've been doing it a long time and they're just all depressed. And I'll look at their postures and you can just see that they're just like this. They're not actually using their lower back to lift their heart. And so what do they expect? It's the problem with any sort of form of training, really. In order to learn the system, you have to dampen your own natural energy, really. So you get all these monks sitting around staring at the wall or whatever. They'd be better off just going working in the fields. Okay, let's try a bit of the butterfly. First, let's just straighten the legs because otherwise they cramp. When you feel like it, into the butterfly. Legs straight out. And then kneeling. Feel the strength. It's easier to have a strong lower back when we're in this Japanese position, so meditating, kneeling down, than when we're sitting. We'd like to have this same proud posture when we're sitting cross-legged. There's a wonderful picture of Iyengar in lotus, and his lower back is just so strong. And then down into the fetus, however you want to get down. Separating the feet so you can sit down on the mat. And then back into fetus. Just lie back. But first, just pull the knees up until the sacrum is just peeled off the ground. Then just breathe, and it will try and flatten back down again. And then cycling. And one leg straight down and pulling the other knee up. And then letting the knee down to the side and pulling the heel into the groin, like we try and do when we're standing on one leg. Pulling the knee up again, holding it with the other hand. Carefully ease it down across the body, turning the head to look the opposite direction. And then back up. And then just swap the legs around. So really try and straighten the straight one. Pull the other knee up. Pulling the heel of that foot into the groin. And try and just let it relax down to the side. Pulling the knee up, holding it on the outside with the other hand. Carefully ease it across. and back up. Hold both knees and pull them apart. And then up into the squat. So this pumping action, which we want to just really settle us down into the legs. This is what we hate most of all, really, getting into the legs. I felt it the first time after doing a set of what for me were heavy squats. When you're doing squats, you have to keep the back so strong, otherwise the bar will pull you forwards. And it really does stack you into the legs. And when you finish the set, you just feel a completely different person. Alternating. Then a wider step, and just moving from leg to leg. Pulling with the empty leg. So I straighten the leg to empty it, and then I immediately bend it to pull me back into it. So it's the empty leg that moves me. So this is empty now. So it pulls, it bends to pull. But now this is more empty. So that continues the movement by straightening. And then let's bring it to riding horse. The openness here. So just let the weight rock back into the heels. Imagine you're on wet sand and your heels are sinking down into it. So we need the arms out front, otherwise we'll topple backwards. So this feeling that you're sort of behind your back, or you're moving in that direction. So this is meditating. This is like the meditating posture where, we're bringing the back around. The really active posture, which is coming off the heels and onto the front of the foot. So now you need to let your tail out a bit, and you'll feel like you want to come onto all fours. And now you get a sense that you've come out of your body and you're in front of yourself. You feel so active and fierce. And then rocking back. So I want to put the heel down, just really feel it sucking me down. Elbows on the knees. So imagine someone comes up behind you and just gently presses your sacrum down, and then bringing the hands onto the ground. And then the elbows again. And then the hands without bringing the sacrum up too much. Trying to come up, but without chickening out and straightening the legs too much. I just want this feeling that I'm from the ground, I'm not just from here. And now let's try the circuit. So first of all, just keep it simple. So down the torso, down the legs, into the ground, and back up. And now let's complicate it a little bit. So down the front of your torso, and then through these points in the groin, and out of the sacroiliacs, and down the backs of the legs. So down the front of your torso, through these points, and down the backs of the legs, and then back up the front. And again, down the front, through these points. So I have to sort of wriggle. I have to sort of do one at a time if I want them to go through properly. I come down the front and I just take it through here and then take it through here. And then let's complicate it further, like we've just done, through these points in the groin, down the backs of the legs, up the front of the legs, but now through these points again, then out of the sacroiliacs and up the back, down the front. So effectively, we've enclosed ourselves in a vertical figure of eight. And then just into riding horse. Feel the heels sucking into the ground and then come onto the front of the foot. And then rocking back, heels sucking down, heels sucking down. And now let's try the two circles. So this is the straight leg. So it bends. So what the bend does, it sends the knee out, but it also pulls this in. And this is where you're sort of yielding the person into. So that's where the hand is pulling towards when it comes in. It's like it's trying to come into your own groin. And then riding horse again. Now let's bring the feet up, give them a bit of a rest. So remember, never straightening the legs. So we want legs that are just really soft. So imagine if someone came behind you and just applied a little bit of downward pressure on your shoulders, your legs could just give to accommodate it. And then when they took their hands off, your legs would naturally just float up again. So I want this real sort of springy, soft relationship with the ground, which means the legs can't afford to become straight and pillar-like. Now let's try some of this one. Feel your tail. The tail is active, it's wagging around behind you. Let the arms come in. So figure of eighting. Feel the figure of eight activity really coming into the heart. The soft jog, so really soft legs. I really sink into the leg. When my weight comes into it, the leg softens and bends. So I get a real sense that my weight has reached all the way to the ground rather than just settling on top of the leg. Try and stay off the heels. And now let's just try a bit of backwards and forwards. Then straightening the leg and then bending it. When I bend it, the knee goes out and it also wants to lift. But this goes back and down. Try and get used to, as I sink into one foot. So once I get over 50%, then the heel goes down and I really settle into the heel. So I want to feel the heel going down of this right leg, allowing the heel of the other foot to come up. So the exercise we've just done, where we're sort of bringing the heels up and down like this, that's sort of going on all the time. So the heel goes down, this heel comes up. I pull with the front of the foot, then I settle into the heel, and it allows this heel to come up. Really alternating what we're doing with each side of the body. So the heel doesn't actually need to come up. You just want to feel the front of the foot. Because what we'd like to be able to do is just really come into the leg. The back foot has to be almost free, or the empty foot. So you see those clips of that Chinese guy doing Tai Chi, they're all over Instagram. And he's so low, he really does have thighs parallel to the ground all the time. But he's always on the front of his foot. So I can really sink down. If I allow my back heel to come up, I can really get thigh parallel to the ground when I come forwards. This is what we'd like. With the feeling that I could almost touch the ground with my hand. And then let's try a bit with the other foot forwards. We're just trying to sink more and more, which is really not getting physically stronger. It's more to do with the flexibility, but even more to do with the mind. So what sort of mind do I need to really get down into the leg? It's a very different mind than the ego mind. The ego mind, it sort of relies upon straight legs. It's when I straighten my legs, I snap that energetic, elastic connection I have with the ground. And then instantly this can start its endless monotony of commentary. So that's the ego. When I'm this close to the ground and I really feel that elastic pull, this can't think, because it has to be really careful. It has to watch every tiny little piece because it's so dangerous. You could so easily injure yourself. Just like prowling like an animal moving so slowly through the jungle so that it doesn't disturb its potential quarry. And now I can just let this back leg go. Okay. So we have these two very different minds, this meditative passive mind, which I establish when I let my weight settle predominantly into the heels, this feeling that I'm sort of behind my back a little bit. So that's what you would have when you were meditating. And then we have like the hunter's mind, the fierce but really listening, attentive mind, which you get when you come onto the front of the foot and lift the heels up. And that requires me to really release my tail behind me. And then when I rock back into the heels and come into the meditative posture, that requires the bum to come in. So this is what's difficult about it. The tail has to be out, but the bum has to be in. So if I just pull my bum in without having first released my tail, then it will just become very repressive, the posture that I adopt. It's more to do with control, controlling your energy. So I want the feeling that I have this poise, this peace of mind, but the tail can throw me into activity. I can burst at any moment and become something quite different. So all the time I contain these two. It's a bit like the left brain, right brain, these two different minds. And then let's bring the feet up. Settle down into one foot and just lift this foot. So circling the foot. So it's a circle, but really it's a spiral because it's descending at the same time. And that will allow me to feel as though I'm actually in the ground. Feel that movement into the foot. I'm using the empty leg to pull myself into it. But everything is a yield. Every movement is effectively a yield. So I'm using the leg to sort of suck into this point in the groin, and then I'll release it out of the back, the sacroiliac, and let it spiral down the leg. So I'll get this feeling that this hip joint is just open when I bring my weight into it. So here, drawing into the groin, releasing from the sacroiliac. So the tail releasing has got a lot to do with just relaxing the sacroiliacs and allowing the energy to come out of them. So in here out here, the tail goes out as well. And I just spiral it all down the leg. Pulling up the leg. We just have to keep going with these exercises until you charge up sufficiently for it to feel somewhat natural. And as you repeat and repeat all of these exercises, gradually you'll just get sucked down into your legs and into the ground, and then it will feel natural. It'll hurt. It's just lean against the wall and just pacing like you're trying to push, but gently through the wall. Feel the sacrum and don't look down. So each foot is pushing the ground backwards, and your hands are pushing forwards, but also up into the wall. And your sacrum is hanging heavily. It's also moving a lot because of the legs. Feel the strength in the lower back. So the arms are pushing down into the lower back and the legs are pushing up into the lower back. So the lower back is where all the strength is. And then let's turn around and just lean on the wall from with the back. Feeling the sacrum. It's the sacrum really. You're just trying to flatten that against the wall rather than the shoulders. So you could actually lean forwards. And then again, just working the legs to rock the sacrum on the wall. Then off the wall, back round into riding horse one last time. Feeling the opening here. So this sense of the thighs rolling out towards the knees. And allowing yourself to settle into the legs rather than upon the legs. Come off the heels just for a moment. You don't even need to come off them. You can just bring the weight out of the heels and into the front of the foot, and then put the heels down and just rock back into them. So those are the two extremes, and we're sort of moving all the time from the front of the foot to the back of the foot. So there's like this figure of eight going on inside the feet. And then let's bring the legs up. Again, keep them bent. Don't let them straighten. Yeah, I find it when I teach, sometimes I feel the need to explain something. And I just find myself just straightening my legs in order to be able to think and formulate the words, the sentences. So that's what we're trying to just keep away from, especially when we're practicing on our own. You feel the ground just sucking you down into it all the time. So this just becomes empty, and then it can just observe. Because when we're in our heads and we're thinking to ourselves, we're very much not in the environment, or we're not with it. Feel the earth pulling at your danchan, pulling at your sacrum. think of it as an elastic thread, and you daren't snap that thread, otherwise you've lost it. You can stretch it and bounce it. It loves that.